as long as your audio is recording, fine.
It's recording.
Okay, cool.
Hi, guys.
Let's get right into it. Right into the video.
No, you know what? Before we get into it.
Wait, hang on. Okay.
A lot of people don't know when we recorded that track for our intro. My drummer friend Joshua, he was on a full 360 drum set when he recorded that. It was very Neil Peart. It was sweet, and I challenge anyone to call me a liar. Prove it.
I can just ask Josh.
So anyway, Danny, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you in an episode in a while. Have you been?
Busy. Yeah.
Cool.
That's about it.
Danny, have you watched Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I have. I finished it. Finished the first half of Stranger Things, or the first volume of Stranger Things. Just finished Doctor Strange. So yeah.
You just finished Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to come out on Disney Plus.
Oh. Mitch, how about you? What's your resume right now?
Planning to start Obi-Wan tonight.
Okay.
After the recording, so
we won't talk about it tonight then.
I'm not a fan of Netflix has ruined me. I remember back in the days of 24 or Survivor or whatever, we'd have to wait every week for a new episode, and then Netflix came out and completely desensitized me to that. So I can't wait anymore. It's
got you. I understand that.
But yeah,
mute my phone.
What else?
Did you finish Peaky Blinders?
No, haven't done that either. Or Ozark or anything really. It's pretty sad. Just been
finish both those.
So no talk of TV tonight. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm watching
movies.
I'm watching Alone. That's.
Did you see Doctor Strange? Mitch?
No, God, no.
Oh, you're not really like the Marvel guy, are you?
Actually, I'm in the middle of watching them all right now with my wife.
Okay.
So
no movies or entertainment. Okay. Great.
We're
Drake has a new album.
I don't listen. I don't listen
to
hip-hop.
I don't listen to Drake.
If you guys don't mind, I wanted to open up with a little PSA. This is one of those, like, it's the same shit. We run into things that we complain about, and really the name of the game is just inventing different formats on how to complain about them, whether they be just shitty commercials we don't like or things people do. I call this one the PSA. I think last time I made a PSA about labor unions and how annoying they were. This week's PSA is, if you ever go through a drive-thru at a fast food restaurant, you shouldn't be ordering for more than 3 people. If you're ordering for more than 3 people, walk inside, and because you're ruining the whole point of a drive-thru.
Mitch, I think you just hit another a philosophical argument that we haven't thought
You're
of.
onto something there. Having worked in a drive-thru,
I know
longer than anyone should have to work in a drive-thru. I can agree to this.
So I would say I agree, but I would change the number to 4.
Yes, because sometimes there's a family.
The car is 4 people.
My number originally was 2. If you're ordering for more than 2, then forget it. Then I'm like, well, I've never worked in a drive-thru, so I don't know. It just seems rude to me to order for a lot of people, especially if you're doing like modifications or if you're splitting a check, for Christ's sake. I don't understand how people do that.
People do that through drive-thru, and it annoys the fuck
I was
out
about
of me.
to ask that. Hell no.
Yes. Or if you have like multiple forms of payment.
Yes, that's what I meant. Like, okay, I'm gonna get this, and then we have another guy. He's getting this. No, walk inside. It's air conditioned. You can use the bathroom. It's great. Walk inside.
Yeah. There's stuff to do while you wait.
Yeah.
Instead
Look
of
at your phone inside.
Idling your car, wasting gas. That's another thing, because you're going to be sitting in your car just idling.
Looking out for you too.
A gallon of gas a minute.
Yeah. Don't support Putin. Don't support Putin and his gas. You turn that car off. You go inside and help the American working man.
Danny, don't say a minute costs a gallon. Say a minute costs a burger.
Yeah. How about that?
No, it's been a fun thing. I don't know if you guys do this, but whenever I go to In-N-Out, for our international listeners, In-N-Out's a restaurant in California.
They
fast
know
food.
In-N-Out. They know In-N-Out.
if you've ever gone to In-N-Out during prime hours, lunch or dinner or whatever, you know that the drive-thru is ridiculous. Like out around the corner, bad. Every time I go, unless there's like 5 or 6 cars in the drive-thru, it's faster just to park, walk inside, make your order, and walk out. So not only is it, better if you have a large order, but it's almost always faster than the drive-thru. And I started thinking about, why is it faster? Shouldn't the drive-thru just be faster? Shouldn't you just go and get it? Oh, because people are ordering a lot, they're modifying, so.
Well, we've agreed that the general public's just awful.
Oh, they're horrible. It's all, me. There's no, general lack of concern for other people. It's just, people. And after, spending the time that I did working in a service industry, I've seen the very worst of people. I've seen people get physical over a coffee. Like I've had people threaten me because I made their coffee wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, you should just know how to make their coffee right.
Well, I made it right. They wanted something else. I also had a guy want to fight me because I didn't want to give him a refill. Starbucks has a policy where you can't come through the drive-thru to get a refill.
Yeah, that seems a little ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I told him that, and he got all sorts of pissed off, and he was like, "Come outside." I'm like, "No."
Literally, like, no, I'm working the drive-thru. I can't come outside.
I'm working right now, sir.
Sir, I have more coffees to make incorrectly. Can you please move along?
Yeah.
Going back to it.
To make incorrectly.
Going back to it though, four people in the car, I'm okay with.
4 people in the car, I think. Yeah. So yeah, if you're
five, you're pushing it, but 4, I'm okay with.
No, but if you're
five's doable, I'm not gonna like you though.
No, pretty much. Okay, yeah, pretty much. A minivan is not allowed in the drive-thru, even if it's just you in the minivan. You get your fucking no.
We just don't.
They're too long anyway. There's never enough room between the pay counter and the pickup counter because a fucking minivan won't move up, so you can't quite make your order and shit. No, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Preach.
Every car should be a sedan with maximum 4 people, and you can pick either blue or red, and that's it.
They should have a height limit on the car, so you can't even get in the drive-thru unless you're in just a regular car.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And if there's a child in your car, you can't go in the drive-thru.
Because they're just
I disagree.
Screaming the whole time you're at the speaker.
Parents are gonna hate me.
No.
And then
no.
I already know where you're going with it. Go on. Go off.
Would you rather them go into the store?
As another person in the drive-thru, yes. As an employee, as opposed to a potential employee, absolutely not. As a selfish person in the drive-thru, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Because right now we have 2 points and we're both agreeing. Two perspectives and we're agreeing. Danny's coming from a place. If I worked in a drive-thru, there needs to be some reforms. There needs to be some drive-thru reforms from the employee standpoint.
Drive-thru Reform Act of 2022.
Yeah. And I'm coming from a customer. Like, this would be way more efficient, and I'd get my food faster if people would just be a little civil in the drive-thru. But yeah. Mike's just disagreeing.
Because we're on the topic, have you seen the new Taco Bell Defy location?
No.
What?
So it's Taco Bell. It's called Taco Bell Defy. It is like
Defy DFY.
DEFY Defy.
Okay.
And it is essentially the most efficient Taco Bell you're ever going to see. So it's essentially the whole store is mobile order and pay. So you put in your mobile order. They then send you a barcode or a Q code. When you get to the pay area, or it's not a pay area because you pay online. Essentially, you scan that barcode, and it lets them know, okay, they're here, their order's ready. Please pull forward, and they drop it down on like a dumbwaiter elevator, almost kind of like the old banking pneumatic tube system.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And your food is ready in a minute or 2. And there's no way, unless you're ordering, they have 2 separate lines. They have the mobile order and pay line, and then they have the order and pay here line. Now, there was a lot of waiting when it first opened because people were just so intrigued by it. They wanted to go and test it out. But even then, I think the longest wait they had was like 10 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And we're talking about hundreds of cars in an hour.
Wow.
I'm 100% okay with that.
I love it. Humans are slow. Machines are better.
So Mitch and I were talking, was it last week before Eddie got on or the week before? I forgot what we're talking about. But during COVID, when a lot of restaurants were doing where you order, you sit at your table and you scan the code and you order from the app. And that's so you don't really have a server, you just have a runner.
Yeah.
So if you put in your drinks, your food, whatever, all that person needs to do is bring it out to you. And we were talking about how, like, one, that would save in labor costs. And two, you can't really fuck up your order unless you fucked up your order.
Yeah. You're the one that fucks up your order. However,
There's a paper
now
trail.
that's not entirely true because there's still a human being making the food.
No. So we're not talking about that the food is made incorrectly, like your steak's not cooked properly or something's burnt. But, like, the actual order is going to be correct.
Yeah.
What you put into the machine is going to be right, but
Yeah.
And we were talking about, like, even going past COVID, I thought that was a brilliant way
yeah.
to cut costs and make it efficient.
Well, Mike, you own a restaurant. Just fucking do that shit.
Dude, we have too many old people. They don't know how to they don't know what a QR code is. They don't know how to use your phone.
Fuck old people, man. They're
We'll have-
wasting
we'd have to
money
hire-
in votes.
They're on their
Right, we
way
have to
out
hire a
anyways,
server.
Mike.
We have to hire an IT person to walk around and make sure they're fucking getting it right.
Oh my
So
God, you have to
print
hire.
out you print out a thing of instructions, put that on the table, put the Q code right under that. So they scan that. They're like, okay, now what do I do?
You're
You
asking
have a
lot,
TV.
Danny.
You have one of your 1,700 TVs in the facility, like playing a tutorial video. First, access this, do this, and then you
Just
have a
on loop.
nice. You have a nice waspy-looking guy in a tucked-in shirt, like telling you how to do it, and they'll love it. I'm telling you.
Oh shit, that's not a bad idea.
I know.
Mike, you are. Hey, this is how we do Glenny Hanna's, bro. This is how we do it.
Glenny Hanna's. What the
Oh,
fuck?
but you haven't heard the idea?
Oh,
I
you
have
haven't
not
heard of
heard
Glenny
this.
Hanna's?
Glenny Hanna's.
It was we were at Brewery X. It was me, you, and Derek, our friend Derek, and I forgot how it came up. But it was pretty much like Benny Hanna's. So it was I always forget what's that style of cooking again?
Teppan.
Teppan Grill.
Teppan
Okay,
Grill,
yeah.
yeah.
Teppan Grill.
But it's like American pub grub. So instead of like a volcano of onions, it's a volcano of onion rings. And instead of like throwing the eggs, you're throwing bacon. And
So instead of a grill in front of people, it's just a deep fryer?
well, the deep fryer's
No,
off
it's
to the
still a
side.
grill.
Deep fryer's off to the side, and then you do like burgers and that kind of shit on the flat top.
Oh my God! And you have like a mini tap, there. Like you have like a few taps there with
Yes.
you. You have a deep fryer
sure.
off the side. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
loving it. I'm
You
loving
probably
it.
get a glycol system, get some beer on tap right at the
Oh.
right at the flat top.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so we
Glenny
were kidding
Hanna's.
around about that.
Cool.
I actually like that idea, having the taps right by
taps right
right
there,
by the
yeah,
flat
that's-
top. That's great.
You guys need a crazy idea man. There's the idea man, and then there's the crazy idea man. Like turn everything upside down.
It always starts with, you know what would be cool?
Hold my beer.
No, it always starts with, it'd be cool.
There you go.
Anyway,
All right. So I'm going to
Did we have
introduce a quick segment. Quick segment
quick seg.
that it already existed, but I'm making an official segment.
Yeah.
Mike at the grocery store.
Bum, 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 bum.
Because it happens all the fucking time.
In case anyone can't see the video right now, Mike is quickly approaching old age, and
Yes.
the curmudgeon side of him is coming out, and it comes out especially in the grocery store.
No, because people are just the fucking kids today. No, no. So this is actually an older woman too, who violated the grocery store code, which is my next book coming out.
Right next to the bro code, you got
Yeah,
Glenny's store code,
The Glenny
Grocery
code.
store code.
the Glenny code.
So we've talked about Mitch. We talked about taking your grocery cart back, the express lane, which has been a big one for me.
Yep.
Talking to people in public and anyway at the grocery store,
Yeah.
which was a whole story.
Paper checks.
Checks, especially if like you're in the fast lane. So this is a new one. This is a new one. And I think in our group chat, I was like, well, another day with a shitty person at a grocery store. And I didn't specify what I was talking about. So I was at Food for Less. So, of course,
Strike one, bud.
Yeah,
Strike
you
one.
strike one, Mike. You get what you pay for, dude.
I go there for cheap juice, for the restaurant, and I leave.
Sheep what?
Juice.
Jews.
Go on.
Which is...
The distinction there. So I go up to the line.
Yeah.
And this woman and I don't think they even have like an express lane there. If they do, it's never open. But so and this woman's there with her child, and the child's probably like 5 or 6, and he's just kind of hanging around the cart. And this little shit bolts. So she hasn't put her shit on the thing yet. She hasn't put it on the thing yet.
Conveyor belt.
Sure. But so she's the next person though, and her little kid fucking bolts and just runs down an aisle or something, and she's just kind of like annoyed, not like, hey, get the fuck back, get back here. Like, no, she's like fucking looks like she looks annoyed, and then she casually walks after the kid to go get him, and the person in front of her, huh?
She left her shit there, didn't she?
Yeah, so her cart's there in front of the conveyor belt. The person in front of her is like checking out. And so I'm kind of like, do I just skip this bitch? Like, do I just go in front of her? Because I only had like 6 things. And I kind of glanced at the person behind me, and you could tell that guy also was thinking the same thing, but he didn't want to acknowledge it. So he like looked away. Like, he didn't want to look at me.
Just not.
So I sat there and I was like, and I kind of looked at the cashier like, do I go ahead of her? Like, what's the
etiquette here? What's my duty of care?
What do we do here? I've never been in this position before. It wasn't
it's
like
just a side note. It's kind of funny to think about this cashier that's watching this happen, who's literally probably been in a store less often than you have, so he doesn't know.
Yeah, and to be fair,
he's the face of the store. He works there, so it's like we're going to him. We're defaulting to him.
And he's probably like,
rules.
And it's food for less, so he's probably like, I don't even care. I'm just gonna sit here.
You want somebody to care? You go to fucking Albertsons.
Yeah. I'm not here because I'm a problem solver. All right, just go ahead.
Take your time. I'm hourly. And so I was just kind of saying like, what the fuck? And like, we talked about it before. I don't like being like the asshole at the grocery store. I want as least amount of attention on me as possible. So I'm just kind of like, what do we do in this position? And then she comes strolling back without the kid. She comes strolling back and still looks annoyed. And this is good, not even exaggerating. Think about it, Mitch. We talked about it before. Danny, you've acted on stage before. Think about like 2 or 3 minutes of silence on stage.
Oh, it's chaos.
Yeah. So when I say 2 to 3 minutes, I'm not exaggerating. Like how
that's a long time.
That's a long time. And so she comes walking back, looks annoyed, and starts putting her things on the conveyor belt. And I was like, okay, at least we're going now. And then the kid comes walking back with another woman who was with her. So I pieced it together. The kid didn't just bolt to nowhere. He like bolted to grandma or someone.
Okay.
And so this woman walked away, not like frantically. I could see if the kid bolted and the woman was like, "Oh my god, no, come back." Cool.
Okay.
She casually walked away and then came back when the kid was just going to like grandma or something. And I was like, "Fuck you. I'm in a hurry. I got shit to do, and you're taking your sweet ass time. You're the problem. You are the problem."
She's like, what's amazing is that's all she heard. It's just you just standing there silent, stewing, and all of a sudden you blow up. You're like, you're the problem. You're the problem. I never even said what the problem was, but you're the problem. And then,
but it's you.
That's funny to me.
And if I would have said that, I would have gotten called an asshole and gotten thrown out. Of course, I stayed silent.
Yeah. You know what's kind of awesome? It reminds me of that story that just happened, a few weeks ago, where Mike Tyson beat the shit out of that guy on the airplane? It's that. Like,
yes.
What I was worried about, when I heard about that happen, I was like, oh no, is this going to be one of those stories where no one asked what the other guy did? They just focused on Tyson?
No, it's just the story of Mike beating the shit out of a lady for...
Right? No, but it turns out, people were like, no, it turns out this guy was drunk and being an asshole, and Tyson finally had enough and beat the shit out of him, and everyone's like, yeah, I mean, yeah.
And to be fair about that, if you saw the way the guy looked after, Tyson was pulling his punches.
I'm just saying, he still got it.
He's still got it.
But like, if Tyson really lost it on this guy, he wouldn't have been. he wouldn't have been
handing him.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been sitting there with a frown afterwards, crying like a little boy.
Oh dear.
Anyway, so that's my current weekly gripe at the grocery store.
I had a am I an asshole moment last week. I was in a McDonald's. I go in for my lunch break. It's something that I would blame COVID, but it's something that's happened before COVID. Is people hanging way too far back? People in line, but hanging way too far back. Someone's at the register. The next person is in line is practically at the door, but they're next. You know what I mean? Have you guys ever seen this? Maybe. My thing is, like, if you don't look like you're in line, I'm assuming you're not in line. So I walked into a McDonald's. There's a lady at the register, and there's another lady back by where the kiosks are, the serve yourself kiosks are. And the lady at the register leaves. No one's walking up. So I walk right up to the register, make my order, and then I'm done, 30 seconds. And a lady comes up the lady who's back behind at the self-serve kiosk or whatever, walks right behind me and goes up to the register. She was either like undecided and not really sure yet, or I cut in front of this woman. And I felt kind of bad. But
yeah, I did that at Home Depot once on accident.
Cut in front of someone?
A few people.
Oh shit.
And no one said, because if you've been to Home Depot, like with their self-checkout stands, like the kind of line kind of starts and kind of goes to the side.
Yes. And
I was just kind of in a hurry, and I kind of had tunnel vision. And I just kind of walked up, and I didn't see anybody, in front. So I just walked to the thing and started ringing it up. And out of the corner of my eye, I kind of saw this guy kind of doing like the whole, like kind of, huh? And I was like, this guy's upset about something. And I glanced, and there was like 5 people in a line off to the side. And I was like, oh, shit. But like my credit card was already in the machine. And I was like, well, I'm already done.
Just look back and be like, sorry, guys. Didn't realize.
No one said, like, I didn't mean anything by it. Just no one said
say
shit.
Something. So if you see something, say something. Otherwise, the terrorists win.
I won that day. I did win that day.
Mike was the terrorist that day.
That's fair.
So, yeah. Grocery store, fast food. Just don't order so much if you're in the drive-thru. God, it's meant to be. Order something simple on the menu, get your thing and go. It's supposed to be a quick thing, but
in my dystopian future, I would make it mandatory that everyone needed a permit to go to fast food. A permit to go to the store. Pretty much anything that you do in public, you have to get a permit for. That's my dystopian
very
future.
Authoritarian, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's dystopian, but I would be happy because only the qualified are out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned the Defy Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that at airports. I saw a meme that said airports need 2 lines, one for passengers and another line for people who have literally never been to an airport in their lives. I think that would work.
They do pre-check-in now. Instead of the
it's not enough.
What is it? The metal detector and the pat down. They have that X-ray machine now, which is supposed to make things a little more streamlined.
Right. Fuck the TSA, man. I'll say it. God,
dude, they're just doing the best they can.
No, they're not. They're dicks. See, those assholes will be like, "Hey, all right, laptops out of the bag. Take your shoes off. No phones. Make sure you don't have any water. And shoes in a separate bag. Laptops in a separate bag. Make sure there's no water in your bag. Come on, move it along, people. Move it along. Like fuck you. Fuck you. No, you are creating this scenario.
You don't know what he had to just deal with. Maybe some woman 10 minutes before you got there had like 5 water bottles and refused to take them out, and he had to argue with her. So now he just wants the water bottles out.
I know, it was my mom. She was in front of me, but still, it's not worth it. God.
No, but
I hope my mom listens to this and gets mad at me because I'll be like, "Oh, you listened. Cool. All right."
She's like, I only had 2 water bottles. No, I would actually agree with that because even like, so I have TSA pre-check, which gets you like kind of past some of that in the bigger airports.
What was the pause for? Were you waiting for us to go, oh?
No, just I looked at Mitch, and Mitch started animating immediately, so I was focused.
Oh, okay.
Dumb.
But I'm agreeing with you because TSA pre-check, you get like your background check and all that shit, and then you get in the fast lane pretty much. And it's very nice.
I do want to do pre-check. I'm judging because I'm jealous. I do want to do that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but so you don't deal with that person who's like, why do I have to take my laptop out? Like, I don't understand. And like, why do I take my shoes off? Like, you don't deal with that shit. It's just like you're going. Because even like at Burbank, they don't have like its own line. You get kind of a shortcut, so you still go through with the same people, but like you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your laptop. Like, you skip some of those steps even at the small airports. So it's kind of what you're saying is there's two different classes. There's you've been here before, you know what's up, and you don't, so you go over here.
Right. I think we're on the right track here, man. We can find a government that's just right for this.
Class warfare is awful unless we are okay with it. And we agree upon the classes.
It's so true. It's
we
so
are the
true.
Deciders.
That was... We were trying to get that to be I was trying to get that to be a segment was if I were emperor, and it'd be all the like just the crazy shit that would be like
shit you would do
that I think would be just amazing, like IQ tests before a driver's license.
I was just gonna say, like, if you can't pass an IQ test at a certain level, sorry, we got to thin the herd.
Yeah. What's it called? Not warrant based, but
Merit based.
Merit based. A merit based. Most of my ideas stem from the airport, which is weird, but a merit-based boarding system. If you ever take longer than 2 seconds to put your bag into the overhead bin, and if you ever put your bag in the overhead bin the wrong way, there's goddamn pictures, and people somehow fuck it up. Put your bag in the bin sideways all the way to one side, you dumb. Anyway, if you do something stupid, you get docked, and then you board based on the merit-based system. There's a whole system.
This was, or this should be a Black Mirror episode, but I'm for it.
See, and if Mike's on board,
because I actually, it was during like when COVID, when things were reopening, kind of, and I kind of said I was like, there should be a way to where you have to take a test or get a permit or do something that if you want to go and drink publicly, if you want to drink at your house, fine, but if you want to drink at a bar or a restaurant, it's a separate ID.
Yeah.
That says that you are mentally capable of it.
Yeah.
That was my idea.
Oh, I had another one of a merit-based fast lane. Eliminate the carpool idea and have a fast lane or 2 lanes on the freeway designed just for efficient drivers, guys or girls that know how to drive. And if like every time you drive too slow in a passing lane, every time you're pulled over, anytime you do something, you get docked and you're not allowed. At a certain point, you're not allowed in the preferred driving lane. It's like pre-check, but for drivers.
Hard to enforce, but I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, well, we'll triple the law enforcement budget. That's for sure. Yeah, I love this idea. I'm like getting this like vision in my head of me and Mike kind of like taking turns every year of being emperor, and like we have our cabinet and shit. But Danny's there as kind of like the kind of guy to be like, now, guys, this is borderline Hitler, and we'll be like, all right.
You guys still do it. You're like, shut up.
It's like, okay, well, Danny said it might be borderline Hitler. No, I think we're still all right.
We're fine.
It's borderline. It's not Hitler yet.
It's not. And other times we're like, okay, no, Danny's right. That was pretty Hitler. We won't do that. But
Danny's like,
you went full Hitler, man.
It's never go full Hitler.
It's borderline Hitler. So right now, it's a hit.
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
Speaking of fast lanes, I have a whole fucked up study I want to conduct. I had this whole belief that if you drive slow in the fast lane, you are logically a less intelligent person. Most people that read know that the fast lane is primarily for passing. If you drive in the fast lane, the far left lane, and you're not passing someone, you either better be hauling ass or and there's no other. You better just be moving. It's Autobahn kind of rules. So people who drive in the fast lane at a slower rate than the rest of traffic either A, don't care and are that heartless, or B, don't know, and they're just that oblivious. Neither of which is really good on a freeway. and we have traffic because of slow drivers. I had my sister try to say, like, no, we have traffic because of congestion. But that's stupid. That's like saying we have traffic because we have traffic. No, we have traffic because of slow drivers.
I think I would agree. I would agree with exceptions. I think there are places where because of they built the freeway years ago and it wasn't designed right or whatever, that like congestion's going to happen. But generally speaking, I would agree that traffic is because you have fucking selfish ass drivers and oblivious dumb drivers. Agreed.
So if you agree with me so far that people who drive slow in the fast lane, and I'm saying people noticeably slow, like if the people to your right are driving faster than you, you're in the wrong lane. If they're driving slow in the fast lane, you could argue that they are less intelligent.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that. Then what I the fucked up idea I had, because I was coming back from Calexico, which is like a 3-hour drive through the desert, and I decided to start marking the kind of car and the kind of driver that does it, because they're usually always a single driver.
Hang on. Lexuses.
No, they're always pickup trucks.
Damn it. Because I've noticed things too. I've seen patterns.
So I'm starting to think patterns, and then I started realizing the fucked up elitism that I was going down, and I had to stop because it was borderline Hitler. Because I'm like, I could probably statistically prove which gender is less intelligent when they drive.
And you know what? Let me ask a question about that. I would guess that it's not newer pickup trucks.
No.
Is that accurate?
Older.
No. What I've noticed as far as because I like did it once, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have to do this for like a few months and really like, and it has to be, I have to decide the qualifications for someone that I would say is a blight or someone that is slowing. So they'd have to be the lanes to the right would definitely have to be faster. There would have to be no one in front of them for a long ass time, and there would have to be at least 2 people like starting to pile up behind them. That driver is a mark, we'll call it. And then as you pass them, you mark the car type or vehicle type, the age relatively, the gender, and if they're alone or not in the car.
Because I couldn't help when you said pickup trucks. To those who are watching, that's I kind of pulled away and started laughing. It's because it's not the Calexico, mind you, but having during college doing the 3-hour drive back and forth from Vegas, and even now my commute's usually about 25 to 30, sometimes 45 depending on traffic. I do get stuck behind people, and so when you said pickup truck, I immediately went to like these beat ass pickup trucks that are probably like 80s or 90s. Normally a solo driver. Probably a male in his 60s.
Okay.
Who just doesn't give a fuck.
You gotta, but you have to apply.
That's what
you have to apply the majority of demographic driving on that particular route. Because I thought that idea too on my trips to and from Bishop or Mammoth, but I realized that the majority of the people that drive that route are either truckers or on vacation. So it's not really a fair judgment of the population as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'd have to be freeway, and it'd have to be certain times where all the qualifications are met.
We can say Fridays, taking the 15 up to Vegas.
No, those are the worst. That's too skewed.
So it is the worst, and I would say a lot of the problem is for a good stretch of that, it's a 2-lane highway. And that can be part of the problem.
It is, absolutely.
But I mean, how hard is it to add another lane? It's miles and miles of nothing.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
We're building the bullet train, but no, we're not putting another lane on the 15.
Yeah, no. Just one lane in both directions.
Anyway, so I might start doing that. I've noticed anytime I've seen a pickup truck in the fast lane driving slow, and this is fucked up, but I'm going to say it because this is what I've noticed, and I hope I'm wrong. When I see a pickup truck that's driving slow in the left lane, it's usually brand new, it's usually lifted, and it's usually a woman driving it.
Interesting.
It's crazy, and I wish it wasn't true, but every time, not every time, but like I'd say about 9 out of 10 times, if there's a slow pickup truck in the fast lane.
I'm confused why guys would let their wives drive their trucks so often.
You said it, not me. Persecute him, internet. Persecute him.
Hey, no such thing as bad publicity. I'm hoping.
It's true.
3 white men are sexist.
The world's on fire
rants
today
about-
due to a debate on a
on a podcast.
podcast.
Women's driving their husbands' brand new trucks.
Yeah.
I will say that drive, I wish I would have thought at the time, having driven the drive to Vegas as much as I did, that 3-hour drive was like its own culture.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Having done it as much, because like even just driving, even today, I feel like if I did it, because I haven't been to Vegas in years, you could tell immediately, like that person has never made this drive. Okay, that guy knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
This guy knows what he's doing. Like
Yeah.
you
Oh
could tell
God,
within.
You have like the Baker Grade, the Halloran Summit, the like what is it? The Needles exit, the Searchlight exit.
How often would you say you made that drive? Because I'm thinking about when I was living in Bishop and how often I would drive back and forth.
So I lived in Vegas for 3 years. The first year when I didn't really like have a ton of friends up there that like I spent a lot of time with, I probably made that drive. There was probably the first couple months I probably made it once every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then there was probably a time where I was making that drive almost every other weekend.
Okay.
Sometimes sometimes every weekend.
So that is about as often. I might have done a little bit less, but that was about as often as I was doing the run to and from Bishop, from Rancho to Bishop. And it is its own culture. It's usually mostly, if you're lucky, they're truckers because they're professional drivers and they know what they're doing. But unfortunately, a lot of the times it'd be the tourists with their bicycles on the back of their crossover SUVs that are driving super slow behind a truck, and it's a 2-lane highway, so they don't have the balls to actually go around the truck, so there's just more traffic piled up behind them, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Little PTSD there, sorry. But
No, and you're right, though, because even like going to Vegas, you could almost tell sometimes, like, okay, this person knows what they're doing right now in this drive, but they're clearly a tourist. But they've made the drive enough. And then there's someone who it's like, this person's a tourist, and they've never made this drive before, and they're going to probably die an hour down the road. Because they say that drive to Vegas, the 15 freeway up to Vegas, is like one of the most dangerous highways in the country.
Specifically the Cajon Pass.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, dude, that alone too. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. For those of you not in the area, this is super exciting. We'll move on. But Danny, if you had to make a guess, what race would you say is the most likely to drive slow in the fast lane? I'm writing this down. Danny said the whites. I don't know yet.
I would probably say it's probably white people.
Okay. Yeah, I would argue the same, just because they're the majority. But yeah.
Yeah. That and
You guys want to know a fun statistic? I don't have the exact numbers, but the argument was made to me a couple months back of who gets into more car accidents, men or women. And apparently, according to some, the AAA or whatever.
I can answer that right now. My sister.
I was going to say
most accidents.
I was going to say my brother, but all right, yeah. It was an interesting kind of stat because I think they said dudes actually get in statistically more accidents than women. And then I started looking up, okay, how do you apply that to the total number of drivers? There are actually more registered female drivers in the state of California by like 5% or something like that. It's like 55% are female drivers and 45 are men. But when you look at actual hours on the road, men on average are like 65 to 70% more hours on the road than women. So it was actually it's one of those things that's like, okay, well, I'm going to use what stats I agree with to prove that so-and-so are better drivers. Who are better drivers, men or women? But
there was the joke too that the stats said that men got in more car accidents, and then the joke was, yeah, because they're reacting to female drivers. Oh man, I'm just gonna get it tonight.
Well, I mean, you got to look at too, like who's more susceptible to road rage.
Ooh, yeah.
I would say men are, and so they're. I mean, and just generally speaking, and I hate making generalizations, but generally speaking, men are more aggressive, so they're going to make the more aggressive moves. However, I've also read a statistic
point.
that say more cautious drivers get in more accidents.
Huh.
Because they're overly cautious.
I have read that theory as well. Yes.
I would have to define what qualifies as overly cautious, though. But
driving 45 in a 50.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
And I would say to pick on my own mother for a moment, if she's listening, this is true.
Hi, Mrs. Glenny.
But the overly cautious driver tends to be indecisive. Mm-hmm. And so, because I've driven with her and other indecisive drivers, and even I've been indecisive at times where, like, if you're not making a decision, you're kind of putting yourself at risk of getting hit.
Yeah.
Like, change lanes or don't. Go that way or don't. But don't do this middle ground shit to where everyone around you is now like, what the fuck are you? And then shit happens.
Yeah.
To Danny, you made a point that was really good, and it was something. It was a theory of mine the other day. I was talking with my wife, so it's cool. Danny said, "Who's more likely to get in road rage is obviously men more than women." The issue my wife and I were talking about was the trope or the false claim or real claim, we don't know, that women are more emotional. And how that's been challenged and brought up and whatever. And I made the point. I was like, hey, what if it's true? What if women are more emotional, but men are more likely to act on their emotions? And you apply that to a driving scenario of road rage or something like that. Whereas if it's true, and I'm not saying it is, women might be more emotional to road rage, but men are more likely to ram someone out of emotion, out of rage or something like that. So it was a theory I had because based on the fact that so many aggravated assaults and murders are largely men, like by a huge percentage are more likely men. And if we say that women are more emotional, but somehow men seem to act on emotions more. So it's interesting. I don't know.
There's a distinction to be made there. When we're saying emotional, we're saying, like, I take that as women are able to recognize and talk about and otherwise communicate those emotions better. Whereas men, we might feel something and immediately just turn it into anger or aggression.
Yeah, you're talking about healthy and unhealthy ways to deal with it. Yeah.
Because, we don't, and I'm sure you can find a statistic about this, that men don't process emotions as well. And so we bottle it up, and then it comes out as anger or aggression.
Yeah.
It could be sad, and I've seen this happen with my own brother. We've both been devastated by the same thing. I tend to process a little bit better, and he just goes, boom, straight to anger. But yeah, I mean, it's so I would just make that distinction that yes, women, when we're saying are more emotional, they can just process their emotions better than men.
Well, I think what Mitch was talking about more casually, it was like that women tend to in stressful situations tend to be like, oh my god, like I can't believe that happened. Where men's like, well, fuck this guy.
I think
which both could be unhealthy, but I think his point was that like men tend to act more than just sit more.
Obviously, I guess the point I'm making is that obviously the healthy way is to deal with emotions verbally, or in a healthy way, but the unhealthy way to deal with emotions, men and women have different unhealthy ways of dealing with it. Both of them, so it's like we deal with them unhealthily differently, which is really interesting to me. But
you're right. Now, like when I had an affair on my girlfriend, I reacted by being very calm and very rational, and tried to have a conversation about it. She reacted by screaming. Yelling.
I tried to hold the straight face. But that was.
She keyed my car.
Since he said affair, I was just like, "You're a fucking idiot, dude."
She keyed my car. She slashed my tires. She reacted very irrationally. That's all I'm saying.
Hysterical.
I was very calm and collected.
We were both dealing with the same situation, babe.
It was the same. We were both in the same room, same content. She went off the handle. I was being honest and open.
Oh man. Yeah. Lobotomy.
And I'm still paying for my car.
You're dead.
That's fine. It's fine. We're all dead anyway. Hey, whatever gets us viewers. Can you believe these fuckheads? Blah blah blah.
Well, soon she's my fiance now, so soon we're gonna be family. Which, they say family blood is thicker than water, right, Mitch?
Hey, that's a good point. I never really liked that saying. Yeah, blood is thicker than water.
True, though.
Literally, yes, it is literally true. That blood is, in fact, thicker than water. But I asked you guys if you didn't know the original saying to not look it up, and Mike, first thing he fucking does is look it up. Oh, so blah, 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 blah. But anyway.
I missed the part of not looking it up. This was before we started recording.
Hard.
Mitch said this, yeah.
Reading's hard. But it was always a saying that I never really understood, the belief that blood is thicker than the water, that family is somehow, blood relatives is somehow more important and should be ranked above someone who you're not blood related to. You see this in the mafia movies or other movies. I don't know. But do you guys have any initial thoughts on that saying? Was that always something you believed or disagreed with? What do you guys think?
No, I think it's stupid.
Okay.
Because you're not responsible for your family. You don't get to choose your family.
Absolutely.
I would argue that people like Mike, who is my best friend, because we don't have that familial relationship, our bond is stronger.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because we weren't forced to cohabitate or forced into a relationship. We kind of it was a natural thing, and I think that kind of makes it stronger. But yeah, the only way to really test that theory is to put Mike and my brother, who coincidentally is also named Mike,
Sure.
in a room and have me pick which one to shoot and kill.
Oh shit. I'll make some calls.
Let's test this.
No. You get a great point. Is what you said is being forced to, and that's what I think is kind of interesting about the closeness with family. I'm not downplaying that at all. It's very true and it's very real. But there is that element of, you are forced to raise this kid. You are forced to grow up in the same house, much the same way that when the friends you make in high school, you're forced to see them every day, and you're kind of conditioned to create this closeness because of just being together every day. And family is that same kind of thing. You are forced really to be close, and it kind of the saying is to imply that loyalty is what it's all about. Yeah. and dedication and love and all that. And just because you're blood related, that makes it automatically a qualifier. I would say, well, just because you're blood related, that would boost the conditions to create loyalty and love and kinship and all that. So, yeah, but actually I saw it in a meme, which is where I get most of my information. Sure. The original saying of blood is thicker than water, the original saying was the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So applying that to a marriage or any kind of a covenant being a word of bond or a promise to someone, the blood of a covenant, a marriage, is stronger than the water of the womb, someone that you happen to be related to because you were born to the same woman or something. So in fact, the original saying was the exact opposite, is that the people you choose by friendship or by covenant or by marriage or whatever, that because you chose it and you committed to it is stronger than your blood relatives. So fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that happens a lot anyway with a lot of old quotes. I'm not going to try to list any examples because I don't want to be remembering it incorrectly, but it happens a lot with old quotes where people will hear them and then over time, like that one where they picked out certain words and all of a sudden it's a new quote with a new meaning that had nothing to do with the original quote.
Yeah.
The blood is thicker than water. I feel like that's one of those ones though that like you hear it when you're young and you're like, yeah, of course, family first, blah, blah, blah. Then when you get older, you're like, I don't know.
Then you start seeing your family for who they really are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love everyone in my family despite our disagreements and everything, and I always had that love for them. But it's like if there was a line to be crossed, I would just be like, why am I going to waste my time with you if that line was ever crossed? And so that's where it's like, yeah, like that phrase, one, like Mitch just pointed out, was already bastardized from the original meaning, and two, just logically speaking, breaking it down, it's kind of like it's almost propaganda, pro-family propaganda.
It is. I mean, it's
awesome.
It's that whole like, it's almost kind of toxic when you think about it, because it's like, no matter who your family is, you need to have their back and love them. It's like, fuck that. Some people are just fucking assholes.
Absolutely.
And like, I mean, they've played this out in TV shows and movies all the time, where it's like, you know, you have an abusive father. Do I need to respect that man? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, because then that person's like,
I said yeah, because I'm
family.
agreeing with you, not yeah that you have to respect that. No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's no, it's that. I mean, George Carlin had a really great bit about this, about like respect in familial relationships is no different from respect in any other relationship. It's always going to be earned. Just because they're your parents doesn't mean anything. I understand that being a parent is difficult sometimes. I didn't ask to be born. I'm glad that I'm alive.
this is literally your fault.
It's your it's your fault that I'm here. You had options. I did not need to be one of those options. But you know, I'm glad I'm here. Thank you. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna automatically respect you. Especially if you take your day out on me every day of the week.
I'm gonna say, like, in fact, I'm still angry at you. I don't want to be here.
I've tried numerous times to leave.
That's kind of a fun other like discussion to have, is the unconditional respect, or I mean, you know, the Ten Commandments talks about the unconditional honoring of your parents, and where does that come in? Because the other point I wanted to bring up about blood and water is adopted parents, someone you're not related to at all, and yet they made that covenant, the blood of the covenant, to adopt this kid, and that bond is already way stronger than the birth parents. I mean, you know, it's so right there you already see an example of it being not true. So,
and I almost feel like, in my opinion, and I might be wrong here, I don't know, I almost feel like it when you're born, you almost start at like a baseline of respect, like, okay, these are my parents, so I have a level of respect automatically for them because they are like my guardian, etc. But then it's from me,
so
but it's at that point though. It's at that point where it's like now it's kind of a game where, like, do you keep that baseline? Do you earn more respect from your child? Do you lose respect from your child? And there's no like right or wrong path, but like if you you're born, you have that birth respect. And then, like, so let's say, like, you know, as a young kid, they're cool, so that baseline stays, maybe a little higher. But then as soon as you become a teenager, if they start, like, hitting you and being shitty to you, you have every right for that to drop below the baseline, and all of a sudden that respect is lost.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I guess the why I brought up the biblical point, but is the commandment to honor your father or mother. It doesn't necessarily say like your father and mother, but it's at least kind of like a, hey, they brought you into the world and they didn't let you die. So, you know, that'd be a fun topic. Because because you can get into respecting your elders too, and that whole thing, and whether that should be a unconditional thing too. And
well, I mean,
I don't know.
We're talking about honor. I mean, you can go the whole Japanese route, and like, I can honor you and cut off your head at the same time.
Exactly. That's like, okay, let's define honor here. But that's a tangent. But back to blood thicker than water. Blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. I heard that. I think first time I read that was seriously like 4 or 5 years ago. It was a while back. But it kind of, I loved it. Because not only did it kind of change my whole perspective, but reinforced relationships I already had. I'm cool with my parents. Not because they're my parents, but because they're pretty cool people and they didn't let me die. So that was pretty cool. But then there are relationships I had which were stronger than people that I was blood related to. And I was always like, well, that seems right to me. But then hearing the original saying, I was like, okay, cool, I was right. But
yeah,
at least according to that saying. But
sure, that could be a future segment or topics. Taking old phrases and really diving into them.
Well, I thought we could get into the philosophy of it a little bit.
Yeah,
because it's our name. It's the name of the podcast.
Yeah, the three of us, Mitch, Danny, and fake philosophers.
I did that so that we all had access to the account.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
But it is.
But now people don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Because you never say Mike during this.
Yeah, this is a mic right in front of me. Oh, your name.
Fuck
yeah.
off. Anyway, no, I do think it's kind of inherent that whole blood thicker than water thing. Because even to this day, we could talk about it in actually a future episode. There was some family drama involving my dad and some of his siblings, and it really kind of it was actually it's a philosophical conversation to be had. I may have had this conversation with either of you off camera, but the idea that just because you're blood related means you are obligated to those people for any reason, especially at a certain age. Mm-hmm. And then when you realize that's not the case, and maybe this person's been shitty the entire time. And that's actually something we could talk about later. Because like I said, the situation me involved with my father and everything aside, the whole situation is very fascinating to me. As far as the whole family versus friends and et cetera, but
it also touches on the long list of doorways, as it will, of becoming an adult, realizing things like that. Mm-hmm. Thresholds, but that point in your life when you realize which parent was the problem. It's a good point.
Well, you know what? That's actually a really interesting point too. My own personal shit aside, with people I know, it's actually a fascinating concept talking to like kids who grow up with parents who were divorced, and not healthily. Healthily, is that a word? Not a healthy divorce. A very dysfunctional and toxic divorce. And you see how the kid grows up, and when the kid kind of comes to an age where he realizes that one parent is the problem, like kind of like you said jokingly, but it's kind of interesting when the kid does reach that age, because you see it in movies too where there's still that bond to them because they are your parent, but you know that they've been the problem from day one, and it's just a mental issue. But
it's another interesting perspective about blood and water is what you described, a dysfunctional marriage, but they have a kid. The kid is blood related to both the parents, but the parents aren't blood related to each other. So it's already you're kind of hopefully.
What part of the country are we in right now?
We're all blood related. Yeah, we're talking about you're talking about the royalty of ancient England, right?
Yeah.
But, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
ancient.
Not even ancient. Never mind. Not even ancient. How about just no? Okay. Yeah, Princess Diana wasn't related. She wasn't related. No.
Of course not. No.
Yeah, royal family, man. So anyway, I mean that's pretty much all I had today, guys. I don't know. It was not much happening at me. Well, actually, that's not true. My brother's getting married next week. That'll be fun. They're getting married in my parents' backyard, which is even more fun.
Do you want to talk about it?
No. Yes, but not online. No. It's just, my parents, who are already, when you talk about anxiety level, they idle at about like a 6 or 7. So you throw
10?
Yeah, out of 10, they idle at about, as far as anxiety and like things just kind of happening, they idle at a little, just ready. So when you throw in an event, it's already like pretty fun. And then you throw in an event that has to do with using their backyard for the event. It's pretty fun, man. I've been drinking a lot lately. I don't know why.
Me too.
You're just getting to that age, Mitch.
It's bullshit, man.
All right. So we're going a little long, but I have two things, and then we're done. One, which this has been a very, very busy week as far as headlines are concerned. We're recording this Friday night. So I think everyone knows what the headline I'm going to read is. Are you ready? This is from this week.
Okay.
Leaked barracks orgy video gets hundreds of British paratroopers barred from NATO mission.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reading that. Yeah. It's,
Did you actually read that one?
Yeah.
Fuck no, I didn't read that. What are you talking about?
That's actually a headline.
Bro, so hot. So hot.
And my phone
we
just
broke
fell off.
Mitch.
Sorry.
So
We're good.
that was actually a headline I saw at the bar. My brother-in-law, he uses Chrome, and so just so that all my cookies and all like my passwords are saved, I use Microsoft Edge, which is clearly not as good, but I use it. So,
Okay, of all the shit we said tonight, that's going to get us the most hate mail. That right
good,
there.
Use Edge.
good. I hate it
the
too.
fuck, dude?
Anyway, the default page on Microsoft Edge just offers like all sorts of weird headlines. A lot of it's political, and I saw that one. I'm going to say it again.
Read it again. Yeah.
Leaked barracks orgy video gets hundreds of British paratroopers barred from NATO mission.
So, okay, I have questions.
Yeah.
So I was working at the time, so I couldn't really like sit on it, but I clicked it and I scanned. I guess so. So NATO's doing like like war games and shit. They're doing like an operation, and I believe the Balkans. Balkans is like they're like Sweden and all that shit, right?
No, the Balkans.
Baltic?
would
It doesn't-
be,
The Balkans don't actually exist. It's kind of like a pseudo name they give to just a
Yeah.
general area. It doesn't really exist.
Fine, up
It
near
would be like-
Sweden and that shit up there.
No, it's nowhere near that.
I forgot where it's at. Anyway,
We're talking about like Sarajevo, Kosovo.
okay, that's what I'm saying. So I got it wrong. But this one, I believe, because I know Russia's pissed off that they're doing this mission, so I think it's up near Sweden. I got the term wrong. That's fine. But so they're planning this NATO mission, like this war game thing, and apparently I forgot how many it was, but it was like a decent amount of paratroopers in Britain got in trouble because a video leaked of them pretty much running a train on the civilian woman. Granted, it was consensual. But someone was recording it, and they got caught. And I wish I should have saved the actual article. I wrote the headline. But it was like a significant number of guys now who are just not going on this mission because I believe they said like that the British Army or whatever, they just like were like we don't even want this to be an issue, so we're just not going to send them. But still, the headline made my the front page of my browser, and I think one of you guys might have mumbled it. I was like, that sounds like a Pornhub video title.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
A leaked video title? Sorry. But anyway, so there was that. And then I just wanted to say that to someone because that made me fucking laugh. And I couldn't
That's awesome.
bring it back up. Anyway, so now I actually have one philosophical topic because we're all sports fans here, right? So here's the issue. So as of 2022, the Lakers have been 17-15 in championship series. Now, quick note, this is not about the Lakers. This is just kind of an example. So 17-15. 17 wins, 15 losses in championship history, which is, if I do the math correctly, 42. Check me. 42 total championships that they've.
I'm not going to check you.
Fine. It is 42. It's 42 championships they've played in. Or 32, excuse me. 32.
Yeah, I was about to say 42 is a little much.
I did my math wrong. 32 championships they played
42
in total.
is the answer.
It is. But 32 championships that they've played in. Meanwhile, the Celtics are 17-4. So they've played in 21 championships. Now, would you claim that the 17-15 Laker organization is better than the 17-4, even though they have the same wins?
Yes.
Because they have more championship appearances.
Because more championships. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So that one's kind of the level surface area of the conversation. So if hypothetically a team, and this is not just basketball, any sport, made it to the championship 50 times, but they never won it, would that team be considered better than the 17 and 15 Lakers?
Yeah, you're talking about the Boston Red Sox, and
Well, it was just something that was curious to me.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and I think it's a difference between a good team and a statistically good team, I guess, if that makes any sense. Because I know, I was joking about the Red Sox initially, but that was like their thing, was the curse of
Mitch. Are you talking about the Boston Red Sox?
Boston Red Sox, you freaking.
They're a wicked good team, kid.
They're wicked. They're the best team. Fuck off. Anyway, that was their whole thing, was that they kept going, but they never won the
pennant, whatever,
World Series.
The World Series. Thank you. I was gonna say Super Bowl as a joke, and then I couldn't think of the real thing.
Yeah.
No, but they never won the World Series because of that curse of the Bambino thing. They always got close, and they never did. So I always thought, it branded them as a bad team because they could never win. But I always thought, well, they've gotten close so many times. That means they're a great team. What are you talking about?
And that's kind of the point of the argument. Where I was kind of thinking about it. If hypothetically, and it's a hypothetical number, the Boston's a great example. But if a team goes to, let's just stay in basketball because I use the Laker example. But they go and they win 52nd places, as opposed to the 17-15 Lakers, 17-4 Celtics, and other teams. They're still right there. They're solid teams. Should they be considered less great than some of these teams?
Honestly, depends on the metric you're using. If you're using how many championships do they have, they're not a good team. If you're looking at how consistently do they make it to the championship, they're a great team. If you're looking at wins and losses, I would say the Celtics are better than the Lakers because they have a better record when it comes to the playoff or the championship game. It just depends on what metric you choose to measure success, because there are a lot of different ones. You could look at, total player field goals for basketball. And yeah, they might not make it to the championship, but look at how many points they're putting up in a game.
That's also an argument, yeah.
I mean, that's the whole premise of the movie Moneyball. It's like
I was gonna say that. I was like, would a fair comparison be made to Moneyball? Because that's what that's all about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about stat building, and it's like you're statistically making the best team. Now,
Right.
that doesn't really translate over to performance 100% of the time. But it all comes down to, again, the metrics you choose, and how well you can implement the players to fit the team and the stats you're trying to build upon.
Yeah, and that's sorry, Mitch, you gonna go?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because that's where, in my opinion, there's no right or wrong answer because it's all subjective. But it was just kind of the idea came to me, and I was like, that's kind of interesting because obviously I'm a Laker fan, so I'm going to be biased towards the Lakers. But like you said, if you go by win-loss comparison, fucking Celtics have it easy. But then you have to think of go for it.
Another example of what, and it just came to me, another example where win-loss ratio is not at all a good deciding factor is in the world of mixed martial arts, because we saw that a lot in a lot of UFC fights from 10 years ago, when they would advertise this front runner, this contender for the belt, who's had 15 wins, no losses. He's a prodigy. He's going to be this amazing guy, going up against a guy who's had 43 wins and 45 losses. And it's like, dude, the guy's going to get fucking killed because he's just, how many more title fights does he have? So that's what I immediately thought of when you talked about the Lakers and the Celtics, is that the Lakers, double digit and double digit compared to the Celtics, which are double digit and single digit. It's like, well, one of these teams has seen a lot more, or one, I should say, dynasties has seen a lot more games than the other one, and that has to count for something.
That's another thing. It's not the same team.
Right, yeah.
It's been consistently different teams season to season.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, unless we're talking about, the Lakers from 99 to 2003.
That was the team, man. That was the team.
That was the LA Dream team, man. But yeah, so I mean, you can't say it's like, oh, it's the team. Like they're the best team. It's because it's not. It's different teams throughout history.
Well, of course.
You can't even say it's the same coach. you can say organization, but again, it's not usually the same owner a lot of the times or the same GM.
Sure, and that's an argument to be made. The philosophical point was what numbers do we go with, and what do we like? How do we rank the teams? That's kind of
which stat was more impressive. Does it look like this is a way winning, but
yeah. So in this discussion, we could assume, because you're right, Danny, that there's different teams, different coaches, different players, etc. But in this conversation, let's assume that it's like consistently the same, just for argument's sake. How do you measure that? Because I remember I was talking to somebody about it, and they even said, like, what if you took the record of every team over the course of 50 years and averaged it, and then that's how you rank it. So that way, if the Celtics, these are fake numbers now. They went to the championship 21 times, they won 17, they lost 4. Let's say every other season for 50 years, they were in the bottom 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would they be in contention to be like the greatest?
Yeah.
And that can go for the Lakers too. It was just kind of an interesting kind of thing looking at it, like, where do these numbers, like, how do we look at these numbers?
Yeah.
Anyway,
side note. It's one thing I do. It's the one thing I do not like about football, because that's my sport. My favorite sport to watch is football. It's one game. The deciding is always one game. It's one thing that baseball and basketball is better, is that it's a series. So if one team wins, it's because that team is better. But in football, you get one injury and that's it. And it's like you don't get multiple chances. And it's one thing I don't like. It's unfortunate.
You're right, though, because in basketball and baseball, you could have a fluke.
Exactly.
Like, there's been games like Kobe, where Kobe was off. So he had his one fluke game, and now he's back.
Oh, no, just recently, the Astros, and how they were sign stealing. And it won them the World Series. And
exactly. Yeah.
That's a fluke. I don't think it makes them the better team.
I'm not sure if that's the same kind of fluke I'm talking about. You're right.
No,
you're right.
Well, I'm just saying it's an example of a fluke.
There was the Broncos Carolina Panthers Super Bowl. I almost said World Series. Super Bowl, Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos, where up till that game, the Panthers of that season were like 16-0 or something. They had like almost a perfect season. They went to the World
15-1 actually.
Yeah, something like that. It was something ridiculous. And then they went to the World Series and it was a blowout. They lost so bad to the Broncos, and it was beautiful. As a Broncos fan, it was great World Series. Brock Osweiler won that season. I don't care, but for Carolina Panthers fans, you got to imagine, like, this isn't the team that played all year. This wasn't that team. We need, like, can we rematch? Can we do, like, best out of 3 or something? Because
that's what gets kind of irritating too as a sports fan. Like, let's just use that example. I don't know the stats, but let's say during the regular season, the Panthers like fucking crushed Denver.
Right, yeah.
Like in the regular season, like just crushed them, and then in the Super Bowl, Denver comes back and crushes and beats them by Let's say I don't know the score, but let's say they beat them by like a small margin.
Phones off, please. Phones off.
Yeah, mine's vibrating. Sorry. But then you, if you were a Panther fan, you'd be like, but wait, if you average the scores, the Panthers still beat them. This isn't right. Blah 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 blah. And so
and how fair is that? The Panthers with a season of 15-2. Or whatever whatever their final record was, compared to the Broncos that were like a lot more moderate between the two. It's like, how is that fair? But anyway.
Yeah. And then there's a whole argument too, like you got guys like in basketball, Charles Barkley, who never won a ring. Football, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Never got
Dan
one.
Marino never got a ring. Mm-hmm. Had a perfect season, never got a ring.
Yeah, that's got to sting. That has to be with him still.
I mean, you could literally go out and buy a ring, so I don't see what the problem is.
I got one right here. These lazy assholes. But
all right.
Good talk, guys.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
We hit all the hot current topics.
I don't think we missed a thing.
No, all the current topics we covered.
I think that's pretty much it.
I think we're good.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything we're qualified to talk about.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
All
Thanks for listening. If you listen this long, and
love you guys. Not our listeners. I love you guys. Fuck our listeners. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Listener, Mitch.
Thank you.
That's three. That's three.
Thank you, Mike's mom, for watching. And
yeah, thanks, Mom. Appreciate you. All right.